Alrighty, so good morning everybody. My name is Louisa. For those of you who have not met me, I am one of the education consultants here at Schoolbox. I am joined by the lovely Louise, so you've got the L team, so Louise and Louisa, and she is also an education consultant based in Queensland. So we are going to be taking you through what we call the prompt effect, and basically the different areas that AI is used within Schoolbox, the different functionalities available, and also giving you a bit of an understanding, so continuation of some of the things that you heard this morning from the Schoolbox perspective about AI, and then continuation into other sessions later on today about how Schoolbox is framing AI moving forward. We want to give you a little bit of a backstory first. As you all know, we've been really deliberate in our approach to AI within the platform, understanding that there are a lot of other competitors, a lot of other platforms, a lot of other LMS providers that have differing approaches to education and AI use within those education platforms. We want you to know that we have taken this particularly conservative approach. I wouldn't even say necessarily conservative, but this different approach just to ensure that we have every safeguard in place, and we've done the research behind every decision to ensure that it is actually at the forefront of educators' minds, and it's going to be a useful tool, not just a tool to say, hey, we've got AI. Every decision and every place where AI has been embedded within the platform, again, has been really, there's been a lot of thought behind what is its purpose, who is it going to benefit, and how is it going to help educators and students moving forward into the future. So today what we're going to do is mention the different places where you could use AI within Schoolbox, what that could look like, and unpack each of the differing features. We're going to be providing you with some guides on how to use effective prompts, because at the end of the day, a tool is only as good as the user using that tool. So just as we wouldn't expect you to say, go drive a car without having had any lessons whatsoever on how to drive that car, we can't expect educators to be using AI in appropriate ways unless they have the tools behind them to be able to use it in effective and appropriate ways. We're also going to be engaging in a range of different hands-on activities, which is why I was sort of pushing to get you all into tables, because we have a lot of collaborative exercises today. And there are some prizes today as well, because we understand it's Friday morning, possibly a little bit hairy from last night's dinner, and also a little bit tired. So we've got some chocolate incentives on the way as well for you all. Okay, so as I mentioned, we wouldn't ever expect, as educators, we wouldn't ever expect our students to know how to do something unless we give them the foundation or the building blocks behind how to do it in the first place. I think back to when I was a teacher and I would ask my prep students, I'd get them to start writing a recount piece of writing. But unless I told them what that meant or how to get there, I couldn't expect them to pick up that pencil and just start writing and telling me everything that they did on the weekend or over the holidays. We have to expect the same thing of our teachers and our educators and our students and anybody who uses an AI platform, whether that be ChatGPT, Azure, anything at all that they're going, or Copilot, anything at all that they're going to be using, they need to have the foundational building blocks behind them in order to know how to do that effectively. And so one of the key things that they need to know how to do is to write effective prompts. What that means is providing AI with as much context as possible so that you get a really effective response from the AI tool that you're using. So we need to give things like clarity, audience, role, examples, structure, and style. We need to give that context so that we're narrowing down what we expect the AI to be able to generate as a result. On your tables, we have given you all some flyers. We've given you this acronym of CARES, because it's the same thing. I'm going to jump back to that example of when I was writing a recount piece of writing. I'd always tell my students, we want to know where you went, who you went with, what you did, how you got there, and so forth. It's the same thing. We need to be really, really specific around a range of different details that we're putting into our prompt to ensure we get the most effective and appropriate result from the AI. Because if I just said to the AI, hey, make me a lesson plan on science, there are a range of different results that I could get from that. However, if I was to provide a little bit more context, so things like, I would like you to generate me a lesson plan that is 50 minutes long with an introduction, conclusion, and assessment. I need it to be around the curriculum standards of ABC. I need it to be targeted at 12 to 13-year-olds and so forth. I'm going to get a far more effective result as a far more effective response as a result of that. I want you to have a look at that flyer for a moment with the people around you and just talk to each other about what you see, any things that you can sort of relate to, anything you may even potentially disagree with. Just having a look at each of those letters. I don't need to talk through all of them, but just having a think about, would this give you a more effective response, or do you think this is probably not necessary? Just have a chat with one another. Alrighty, we're going to keep going. Hopefully, most of you are thinking, gee whiz, Louisa, Schoolbox has really got this down pat. What a great list of acronyms that you've got there. And here we've also provided you with a little bit more. So if you turn your pamphlet over, we've also provided you with a list of do's and don'ts. So again, for really effective prompt writing, to get you the most effective response from the AI chatbot that you're using, what are some effective do's and don'ts that you could consider? As I mentioned, being vague is probably one of the worst things that you could do and you could advise your teachers to do, because the more vague you are, the more wild your responses are going to be. But the more refined and specific you are, the more effective your response is going to be. This is all on your pamphlets and you will get all of these slides, so I won't talk to each of these points. However, I just really, really do want to highlight that as we would with any teaching framework that we ever provide to our students, we need to think the same way when we are asking our educators or our students to be using effective prompt writing. Okay, I'm going to give you a little task here. Just a short one. I want you to have a think about the 5 very vague prompts that I have on the screen. I want you to select one of them, and I want you to use the CARES acronym and the guides that we've given you on do's and don'ts on your pamphlet to transform each of those prompts into something that would be far more effective and appropriately entered within the AI chatbot. Speak with your team around you, do a bit of a think, pair, share about what you found, what you're doing when you're providing a more effective prompt, and how you're changing each of those very, very vague sentences or very, very vague instructions into something that could provide you with a really effective response. Alrighty, thank you. This could be an activity that you potentially may like to take back to your schools if you are in the very beginning of educating your teachers on how to create effective prompts for the use of AI. It's just a nice sort of tool, so feel free to take a photo, starting with something really simple that they can expand on. And then understand, and you can actually get them to do a comparison of, let's plug this first initial instruction in, expand on that prompt, and then get them to plug it in again and see the differing results that you get. I think that's probably one of the things that learning by doing, but also those wow moments are really, really effective, not only with our students, but also with our teachers as well, particularly at the beginning of your AI education journey. Okay, I'm going to talk now about the varying components that we've got within Schoolbox that can utilise the AI features. So the first one is obviously, actually, can I get a show of hands here? Who is using AI within Schoolbox at the moment? Staging. Yep, excellent, okay. Great. So, few of you. So there are a lot of places at the moment where AI can be used, but one of the key areas is within any place that the CK editor is present. So you would see this tool here, the CK editor. The different places in Schoolbox are things like pastoral care, feedback, news posting, task creation. Have I got anything else on there at the moment? Text boxes, thank you. Just text boxes in general, the CK editor is present. When you use AI to plug that in, so I'll just also preface that Schoolbox AI is not an added part of your package. What is required within Schoolbox to use AI is to have an external subscription that you can just plug in your credentials into the back end. So it's up to you to do, or you as a school to decide which AI source you're going to use, and then plug that into the background. So unlike other platforms where it's an additional fee and you have to contact your representative from that particular platform, this is up to you. So you guys can do the research, you can make your informed choices as to which way you want to go, and then you just plug in the key in the back end and it will allow you to surface all the different places AI is used. Yes. If you attend one of James's sessions later, he'll give you a bit of information as to what's currently available and different pricing schemes and what that looks like, generally speaking. But obviously, because it's a different platform, prices are going to be dependent on the school. Okay, so within the CK editor where AI can be used, there are two key pieces that you may or may not use. One is what I like to refer to as the little robot man, because it's a little robot in the corner. It is your AI assistant. This has the same functionality as your ChatGPT, for example. However, with safeguards in place. ChatGPT doesn't have those safeguards in place because it's external, whereas within Schoolbox, the AI assistant does have safeguards in place. Same thing here. You provide your prompt as much detail as possible and it will generate you a range of different possibilities. Additional to that, we have what looks like a little magic wand. What that magic wand does is it gives you a number of different refinement tools. So things like how to expand on this writing, can I change the language, can I change to suit a particular age group or audience. The refining tool will take what you've written and just provide you with a couple of different examples within the platform of what may be an appropriate way to reorganize or regenerate your current information that you've got within those text boxes. The next key feature that we have AI use for is within the lesson plans. So lesson plan generation is a relatively new feature, came out at our last release, and there are a number of benefits in using this. So in the back end, as you may or may not know, you can create templates for your lesson plans. These are not confined to singular lesson plans. These can be a range of different things, just thinking of them as templates. So they could be instructional models. It could be weekly templates. It could be termly templates. It could be singular lessons, or it could be any kind of template that you could possibly think that you would require in your space. You can generate them in the back end. Additional to that, we have this particular area called field description. When you've got the AI embedded, you are basically putting your own prompt within the back end to say, in this particular area of the lesson plan, I would like you to use X, Y, Z information. So you're basically providing that prompt away from the teacher's needs. You're doing it behind the scenes, creating consistency across the board, and ensuring that the AI has some refinement about what it's going to be generating in that particular space. So I use the example, maybe one of your text fields in your template may be around generating big ideas. What does that mean within your school? So providing that context in the field description around what a big idea refers to. So posing broad questions, and just giving that context that you can define behind the scenes Teachers can obviously continue to refine that even further, but you're generating that initial piece for them for that consistency within your school. The next piece is being able to select curriculum within the AI lesson plan generator. What that does is, again, it provides more context, as we were talking about with our prompting. It provides more context, meaning we're narrowing it down as to what we would like the AI to generate. So by selecting that curriculum, so if I was to select a particular mathematics curriculum, and it's really sort of dug deep down into this is for the Year 9 context, and that we're looking specifically at a numerical design of some kind, the AI is going to pick that up and use that as additional context of refinement in what it spits out as its response. So the more information that we can give it, the better. The final piece is being able to define, as was mentioned in the session before, what is going to be really, really effective for your teachers and for your educators is being able to chunk things. Doing something the entire lesson or the entire yearly plan is not going to give you the most effective response. However, if you were to select just key components that you want to generate and then build on that, you're probably going to receive a much, much more effective response from the AI that you can then refine as you go. That said, you can, of course, select every component of that template that you would be able to generate, because then you can regenerate certain pieces as well. But as we all know, teachers are the professionals in that space. This is merely designed to give you those initial ideas, but teachers can make any edits along the journey. They can say, you know what, this is not going to work with my particular context of students. They can make changes, they can make edits, and they can put their teacher voice into it. This is designed to give you those ideas to take away from those thinking practices that could take, multiple weeks. This is designed to give you, these are some initial ideas. It is up to you now to decide whether or not you want to go with it, make changes. You can ask the AI to regenerate those ideas with a little bit more context. Finally, the other thing here is you can add timeframes. So you might say for your particular template, this is going to be a 50-minute lesson. Or you might say this is designed to be 10 20-minute lessons across a 2-week period. You could also say something along the lines of this is designed to go across the entire year. Again, refining the amount of information that you provide the AI is going to give you a much better response. So if you can tell it a little bit more information about what you intend to see, it's going to give you a greater result. So if it's something that's going for a full year and you've got 10 lessons a week, give that information. It is not confined to numerical figures. You can give words, you can give sentences, you can give a range of information within that duration period. And then finally, additional context. So I've used this for a number of different reasons. I've played with it, tried to break it as much as possible. I've done things like highlight every time I use the word teacher. You can get it to do things like that, but you can also get it to assist you with any kind of customization, modifications, scaffolding, anything that you need within that space. So for example, if you have a student within your class with visual impairment, you might add it into your additional context. Please ensure that there is always a task for a visually impaired student that aligns with everything else that you have generated in this space. You could also ask to ensure that there is a pre and post assessment that align with the curriculum requirements. So any additional context that you can put into that space, again, is really, really useful. So really think about what it is that is required in your classroom context and plug that information in, obviously avoiding student names, but as much information as you can possibly provide. Alrighty, the next tool that is coming in our next release, which will be spoken about later on this afternoon, so I'm giving you a little bit of a insight into it now, is the AI image generator. This is available anywhere that you can upload an image. Same idea applies. The more context you provide, the better outcome you will get. And again, safeguards are in place here, meaning that you cannot ask it to generate some images that are inappropriate for a school context because, of course, it is within a learning management system. The idea of this was because we did understand that a lot of time was being taken in external platforms to generate images that align with school colours or that meet banner requirements and so forth. So the image generator allows you to do that. You spit in, again, an effective prompt, asking exactly what you need in the colours that you need in the display that you require, and it will provide you with a response. Same thing again, if you're not happy with that initial response, you can ask it to regenerate with additional information, save that image how you want, and you can upload it as well. One of the other key pieces here is if you want all of your images to follow a particular colour scheme, so say marketing has given you 3 key colours, you can plug that information into the additional context in the background so that all of your images are generated in those particular text types or colour images or colours that you have provided the school. Alrighty, I'm going to hand over to Lou now. I've spoken to you for a long time, and now we're going to get you to do some fun activities.
Okay, I'd like to get you into this as soon as possible because it's a workshop session and I want to get you hands-on. So we have, I'm not going to read these challenges out to you at the moment, but we have 2 challenges that we've posed. We'd like you to tackle these, if possible, individually or in pairs if you'd like to go that way. Hopefully you'll see one as like a teaching and learning focused type challenge and one as more of a Marcoms challenge. So pick one that you might feel you fit the best with and tackle it that way. But we do need to get you into an instance to do that. So you will be able to use, depending on which of the challenges you choose, various tools that Louise has just walked through. Okay, you should see the instances I have on the screen. So if you are choosing the teaching and learning focused challenge, then you simply need to go into the top icon and courses. And if you were to search Year 3 English as a course, and just pick one of the unit pages, it doesn't matter, go to the course outline and engage in that task in relation to creating a project. If you are doing the Marcoms one, we've actually set up, so if you went to the top menu icon and went to the resources folder, you will see a folder at the very top that says Challenge 2, Marcoms. Create your group page here. So like you would in creating any group page, you would add a folder, turn it into give it a template, and work from there. Okay. I'm going to put the challenge back onto the screen so you can see the task, but also in the instance, you will find in the news component, we have also put the challenge into a news, so the instructions are sitting here as well. Okay, and there are a little bit of, with the teaching and learning one, in relation to the lesson planning, we have a lot of different templates in the system, but the best ones to use are listed there underneath the news item. Okay. We'll have people walking around. We're going to give you a good amount of time to do that hands-on piece. We'll then bring you together. So try and do it individually or in pairs. And then we'll have a across the table discussion around some different points. Over to you. There are, oh, okay. To really motivate you, and Jez is really good about this, really keen on this, we do have some prizes. If you're a chocolate lover, you'll love the prizes. So at the end of your discussion, we want your table to vote the best solution that was created. Okay? We're going to have to be mindful of time, and I know you're all well into this now and trying to build out those different challenges, but we only have about 5 to 6 minutes left. We can go a little bit over, but can I ask, you may not have finished your challenge, but could you just talk to the people on your table and just have a discussion about maybe not the finished product, but the experience, and have a think about things like what went well, what might be some pain points that you found, were there any surprising outputs from some of the generation that you created, because I'm hoping by now you might not have finished your challenge, but you've done some AI generation of either an image or some lesson plan, elements of a lesson plan. So have a look at the slide that's on the screen. Any insights into prompting, any surprising outputs, pain points? Have a quick chat cross table. And in order for us to give out our prizes, we need you to determine from your table who has done the best prompting or the most effective prompting and what they've generated. And we're going to ask for a winner at your table. Just a taster today, so I'm sure post this session you're going to be going and practicing more and exploring with people back at your school and over lunch. So if I can have you come back to the front. We're looking for, as I said, Lily has a box of chocolates to hand out each table. What you were talking about, what you saw that each individual or pair was doing, do you have a kind of an idea of who might be deserving of that box of chocolates? So who maybe got the most effective response out of a prompt, or have a think about that. And we'd like to have you let us know who we're going to give that box of chocolates to by putting your hand up. And we'd just like to look at and hear from one or two tables about the experience that was happening. So quickly vote or quickly nominate who you think deserves a box of chocolates today. And could you put your hand in the air? No one?
All right, winners, loud and proud, put your hands in the air. There can only be one winner from each table. Yes.
Oh, there you go, Louisa. So keep the hand high so we can see.
We've got another winner over here, Lily.
It's like bingo.
We've got another winner. And another winner. No?
Okay, Louisa, do you want to just move around and maybe pick one or two people to share their experience?
Alrighty. Can I get everyone looking this way? Winners, can you please put your hands up in the air really, really tall for me, even if you've already received your chocolates? If you would like to keep your hand in the air to be the person I pick on.
If you nominate someone else, it turns to you, by the way.
Otherwise, I'm going to come around to this lovely gentleman right here.
Hello. I found that it worked really nicely with the prompting, but you do have to be really specific as to what you want. But if you're, as the descriptor provided earlier, if you do it in the dot points, you give it the context of what it's operating under, it gave me some really nice prompts for families. So I did a rowing club for the school, and then I told it how I wanted it to generate the 3 tile images. So I got a picture of a boat shed that, normally I'd probably use the actual one, but I got a picture of a regatta ground and of part of the rowing stroke. And so it made some really nice tiles. I was able to quickly generate a news item picture. We're doing a fundraising event, so it gave me a quiz night picture. Didn't have to go Googling and worry about copyright issues. And it gave me a breakdown of what the families would be able to find on the page based on just the titles I used for my tiles. So it was, I think, what you gave us about 15, 20 minutes, and the whole page was generated a lot quicker than if I'd been having to go into Google Images, save it, upload it, and do all of those things. So I think it could be fantastic for group creation.
That's awesome.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. Can we give him a round of applause? Thanks, James. Anyone else want to share?
Hi there. Being primary based, I did the year three writing lesson. Again, the prompts were really important. I made sure I put in exactly how I wanted the lesson to be formatted and structured. So I wanted it to be explicit lesson. So I do, we do, you do. I made sure that I included differentiation in my prompt, as well as some of those more multimodal. I wanted it to have more multimodal aspects, and actually specifically said I want images and the video. Then when it came through, I modified it a bit more. So when I went into resources, I realized that, one of the suggestions that the AI had suggested was to create a word bank. So rather than me have to create a word bank, I then went and asked it to create a word bank based on what the topic was, that it was creative writing, that it was around Charlotte's Web, that they were looking at Australian animals, and it created that for me as well. And really, it's created me a full lesson, including differentiation, teacher notes, pretty much everything you could want, support extension, some guided practice, and explicit teaching. So it's amazing. And that was just through writing one paragraph at the very beginning. So I think it'd be really useful for our staff.
Did you link the curriculum as well?
I did,
Yeah.
yes. So I used the Australian curriculum because that's what came up. So I linked the curriculum, so then it added the outcomes. And yeah, it actually, the activity does link with the outcomes.
So, saving time is the theme at the minute.
Oh, very much so.
Efficiency. Yeah.
Thank you, Cynthia. Can we give her a round of applause?
One more.
We'll have one more share. I think
there was someone on this table, Louisa, that put their hand up.
Hi everyone, we went with the Marcoms, so we thought we're actually participating in bubble soccer for our school for Are You OK Day next Wednesday, so we thought we'll do a promo for that one there. And we were kind of scared with the image that came up with the generator, like the faces. We asked for an image of some students playing bubble soccer and having fun, and their faces were all askewed and their mouths were kind of... So I think we've got to be really mindful of maybe what people look like that are generated by these images. The text was good. We put up a news component. We've done a blog post. We put a couple of things in there, changed the headings to match the same colour of the Are You OK Day to sort of tie the whole page into a theme. But yeah, generally I'm quite liking this AI generated thing with the text. I think our teachers are going to need it, to be honest, because they're posting a lot of news in their class homepages, and they're sometimes questionable. So it would be good to refine and polish their writing a little bit. So we'll look into that. I'll have a further chat with leadership and go from there. Thank you.
Excellent.
Give her a round of applause.
We might move. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for the feedback and the participation. We're just going to end it off because we do need to move rooms. So a couple of key takeaways from the session. So as we've seen, practice makes prompting perfection. So take away the little handouts that we have for you on the table. You will get the presentation at some point, so you can take it from there as well, and use them back at school, use them with your colleagues, take that back. What's I going to say here? Just remember that AI is just like every other tool in the world. You won't be an expert overnight, and you probably experience that here. It's that constant going back, practicing, working through it, working with others, collaborating. So continue to refine your outputs. It's a useful time-saving tool, and I think that came out in 2 of the feedbacks already in the hands of teachers. But it is about using it, as we heard this morning, thinking about how it's used, what policies and practices sit behind that, when you use it, and getting comfortable with it and using it in the right way. As Louisa showed you throughout the beginning of our session, we have plenty of ways in which you can use AI for your day-to-day tasks. And we are exploring how that continues to develop inside of Schoolbox, but also, as Louisa mentioned, in a very measured, thought-through way to ensure it's meeting the needs of both Schoolbox and yourselves, our customers. So, and just to end off, what I would say is that there is another session happening at 12, that Harnessing AI, I think it's called, with James, which will delve further. If you wanted to follow that AI path today, we had the panel, and then you've done a prompting effect. You could head over to James's session at 12 to do that. And remember, sharing is caring. So get out there and share and practice your prompting. Thank you, everybody.